Meantime, Democrat lawmakers are renewing their push for tighter gun control laws on the heels of the tragic school shooting. One America's Kristian Rouz has more.
Congress Democrats intensify their attacks against Second Amendment rights in the immediate aftermath of a deadly school shooting in Florida. Investigation into the tragic incident is still in its early stages, and little information has been released to rush to conclusions related to gun control laws, as well as their applicability and enforcement.
This happens nowhere else other than the United States of America. It only happens here not because of coincidence, not because of bad luck, but as a consequence of our inaction.
Some Democrats calling for stricter gun control have admitted they are consciously politicizing mass shootings, backing it up by questionable claims the Second Amendment only serves the interests of a narrow group of people.
It's a gun lobby invention, this idea that you can't talk about policy change in the 48 hours after a mass shooting. It is a political issue because the only way that this changes is by the laws of the country changing.
Just hours after the shooting, Democrat Colorado Senator Michael Bennet urged for action against gun rights, saying thoughts are not enough. His sentiment was echoed by California Democrat Representative Adam Schiff and House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, while New York Democrat Representative Yvette Clarke went as far as to explicitly call for sensible gun control. Democrats also call for gun-free zones, which only remain gun-free until a criminal shows up with a firearm. Meanwhile, Florida police say the perpetrator may have used a long gun similar to an AR-15. The Sunshine State already has AR-15 related regulations in place, which include requirements of a background check and prohibit the possession of such weapons by people addicted to drugs, having mental issues, and a record of misdemeanors. The 19-year-old assailant had been expelled from school, was involved in continued trouble with local law enforcement, and showed signs of either mental instability, drug addiction, or both.
We don't know how they got a hold of it. I mean, that's the most important point. I mean, how did it happen? Was it stolen? Did it belong to someone and they broke in and got it from a family member? I mean, I'm just speculating. We don't know. So I know that ATR's rerunning those traces now, so we'll learn from that. We'll learn about how they got a hold of the ammunition.
This reveals the inconsistency of Democrat calls for tighter gun control measures, which only limit legal gun purchases. It is also unclear whether the perpetrator had a gun permit under the existing applicable laws, as even the toughest gun laws won't stop those who don't observe the law in the first place.
If a person is predisposed to commit such a horrific event, like go into a school and shoot people, if a person is going to drive a truck into a crowded area, if a person is committed to committing great carnage, there's not anybody or not a lot law enforcement could do about it or any entity could do about it. The only things we can do are train very hard.
This comes amid calls to arm school teachers and encouraging a higher number of well-trained and prepared good guys with guns in high-risk areas. Meanwhile, Democrats have exploited every tragic shooting to push their agenda of taking firearms away from law-abiding citizens and making them increasingly helpless in the face of big government, which often happens to be weak on crime under Democrat leadership due to corruption and inefficiency. Kristian, Rouz, One America News.
We can use your help. Call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call today.